Hello, I'm Dr. Peter Balogh of the Vancouver Centre for Cosmetic and Implant Dentistry here in Burnaby, British Columbia. Today I'm going to talk to you about teeth in a day. First of all, what are teeth in a day? Teeth in a day refers to somebody who has a tooth that's failing. It may be due to a gum problem, it may be the tooth is fractured, a number of different situations. And they want to have an implant. Traditionally, the protocol has been to take the tooth out, wait for the bone to heal, put in an implant about 4 months later, wait for that to heal, another 3-4 months, and then you get your final tooth. So there could be a 6-8 month, even 10-month or longer wait from the time that the tooth is removed before you have something permanent again. Teeth in a day refers to having that same tooth removed, and that same day an implant is put in place, and not only an implant is put in place, but then a crown or a set of teeth is put on top of the implant, and it is permanently affixed so that these teeth don't come out. The advantage of this is very obvious. It means you can walk in with a tooth that's failing, you walk out, you have a permanent tooth. Now this concept is not new. Although traditionally we did implants in a staged process, as I described earlier, implants in a day has been around for at least 15 or 20 years, and that's one of the services that we offer as well. There are some key differences that you have to be aware of. Implants still take the same length of time to heal, whether you do them in a day, teeth in a day, whether you do them in a staged process. It takes about 4 months for bone to grow around an implant and it to become solid. So an implant is put in place and a whole bone grows around it and that becomes solid, and that's what allows us to put the permanent teeth in place. If there is movement of that implant in that first 4 months, then you will not get bony growth against the implant. In fact, you'll get soft tissue growth around it. The implant will be loose, and in fact it will fail. The same thing is true if you ever break your arm or leg. You have your leg put in a cast. Why? Because the two bony pieces are put together, and if there's movement of those pieces of bone, then typically it won't heal. So a cast is put there to immobilize that area, and then the bone will grow against it, and voila, 2-3 months later, the cast is removed, the bone is healed, and you're fine. So with teeth in a day, we still have to control that same movement and that same forces. So one thing that you have to be aware of if you're considering teeth in a day is you are relegated to a liquid and or extremely soft diet for about 3 to 4 months. And this first 6 weeks is the absolute most critical. So how do we do that? If we're dealing with a single tooth, it's much easier. With a single tooth, we have all our teeth come together, they all meet, and with where the implant is, we make that crown that's on that implant a little bit shorter so that when you do bite, you don't make contact with it. And we just tell people, try not to chew on that tooth, or certainly don't chew anything hard. Keep it to softer foods only. In the front, same thing, we can make that front tooth just a little bit shorter so that we don't make contact with that tooth, and it can be there for looks, aesthetics, speech, all that sort of stuff, but it's not there for biting into an apple until that implant is healed. A little more of a challenge when we have a full arch of teeth. Someone comes in, all the upper teeth are failing, all the teeth are removed, implants are put in place all around, and now we have a permanent set of teeth that gets put into place, typically screwed into place. Well, you can't not chew on one side or the other. You're stuck. You're basically, everything is joined together. Couple of things. One is by joining all the implants together, we've splinted them, so we've made each individual one a little bit stronger. And if there is some pressure on this side, that pressure, that movement that's put onto this potential implant is shared and spread out over all of them, so it helps to minimize what we call micro movement of those implants during the initial healing phase. Nevertheless, when people have a full arch of immediate implants and immediate teeth, they are instructed to eat softer foods and typically a liquid diet, especially for that first 6 weeks. That is really, really, really important. Keeping the area clean is also really imperative. You need to be able to keep the whole area clean during that healing phase. If not, if there's food, bacteria getting into those areas, that may also compromise the implants that are healing. Other than that, implants in a day can work wonderfully. It's a great service. The other thing you need to be aware of is you need to have good bone in the area. If there's been a lot of bone loss due to gum disease and there isn't enough bone volume, then that may not work. We need to have some initial stability of the implant. The implant's got to be put into reasonably good bone, maybe not even the full length of it, but most of it. If there's a lot of active infection, acute infection, that is generally not going to be a good situation to do an immediate implant. If the bone has been lost totally on one side, which we do see sometimes even with a single tooth, that is not going to be a situation for an immediate implant, let alone an immediate implant and immediate crown, tooth in a day type of situation. There is a lot more risk when we do teeth in a day. By pushing the envelope per se, we are creating a greater risk for that implant to heal. Now, as long as we're careful, as long as we don't get too pushy or too aggressive, then I'd say the risks are manageable, and it doesn't happen very often. If we do teeth in a day, it doesn't matter, or whatever we do, in my office, if an implant fails, I will put another one in, we'll go back and we'll graft it, if we have to, we'll put another implant in place. There's no extra cost to the patient. So it's not only in the patient's best interest, but it's in my best interest to make sure that we don't push the envelope too much, that we make sure that these are going to work well, it's going to be successful. And so it's a wonderful service. Whether or not you're a candidate will be hard to know until you would actually go in and see your dentist. They would need to take some films, take some records, dental records, to find out what is the bone like, what are the type of teeth going to be, and of course where the implant's going to be, or they need to be placed, I should say, and will you be a good candidate for that. So hopefully this has answered some of your questions. Certainly you can always email us or write to us or call us. Our website is www.vccid.com, and if you have any questions, send us an email and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you.